Hello everyone, my name is Abby.
And I'm Lydia.
And we are hyphen leaders at Christian Life Church in Delaware, Ohio. And we're here today to do a daily devotion with you from the story of Ruth.
So if you've never read it before, the book of Ruth is only 4 chapters long, but it tells such a powerful story about loss, faithfulness, and redemption. The story follows 2 women, Ruth and her mother-in-law Naomi. Naomi had lost her husband and her sons, and her life felt completely broken. She went back home feeling empty and hopeless, like everything she once had was gone. But Ruth made a decision that changed everything. Instead of leaving Naomi and going back to her own people, she stayed. She stayed loyal and she stayed faithful, and she trusted God even when her future didn't make sense. That decision is what set the rest of the story in motion.
So when Ruth and Naomi returned, they had nothing. No land, no security, and no real future. But in the culture, God had already made a way for families to be restored. There was something called a kinsman redeemer, someone in the family who could step in and restore what had been lost. Kinsman redeemer was one who would step in to redeem the land and property of the deceased by marriage, fulfilling the Levirate law of redemption in families. In chapter 2, we meet Boaz. He wasn't just kind to Ruth, he was actually part of Naomi's family, and that meant he had the ability to redeem what had been lost. At first, another man had the opportunity to do so, but he refused because he didn't want the responsibility. Ruth was actually a Moabite, and due to this, his family would have been considered Gentiles up to the 8th generation. But Boaz stepped forward willingly. He chose to redeem Ruth and Naomi, and he chose to restore their future, knowing full well that Ruth was a Moabite. And because of that decision, everything changed. Ruth was redeemed, Naomi was redeemed, and their future was redeemed. And the story doesn't stop there. Ruth and Boaz had a son named Obed. Obed became the father of Jesse, who was the father of David. And David is the same one who would one day become king of Israel. By blood, David never should have become king. However, due to Levirate marriage and kinsman redemption laws, David's grandfather, Obed, was legally the son of Naomi and her late husband, Elimelech, due to the redemption law. A woman who had felt forgotten became part of the royal line, and family that had lost everything became part of God's plan in a way they never would have imagined.
And so that's why this story matters so much for us today. Because the story of Ruth isn't just about something that happened a long time ago, it's a picture of what God still does in our lives right now. Just like Boaz redeemed Ruth and Naomi, Jesus came to redeem us, and we didn't earn it. We didn't deserve it, but he stepped in anyway. He took our brokenness, our past, and our mistakes, and he gave us a new future. 2 Corinthians 5:17 tells us that we are new creatures in Christ, and the old has passed away. Sometimes we feel like Naomi, discouraged, empty, and wondering why things turned out the way that they did. Sometimes we feel like Ruth, trying to stay faithful even when we don't know what's coming next. But the story of Ruth reminds us that God is always working behind the scenes, even when we can't see it yet. John 10:10 reminds us that he came so that we may have life and life more abundantly.
Redemption means our past does not define us. Redemption means your mistakes don't get the final say. Redemption means God can take what feels broken and turn it into something meaningful and powerful. So today, if you feel discouraged, forgotten, or unsure about what comes next, remember this. The same God who redeemed Ruth is still redeeming lives today. Your story is not over. God is still working and he is still redeeming. So with Easter approaching this next week, let us look forward to understanding that our Savior came not only to save us, but to redeem us from a life of sin.